This is Dead Serious, a show about short horror stories worthy of discussion. I'm Dead Palette, and I'm reading stories from 15 Hours Tumblr. Cashew Crushers? Today we're going to be taking a look at This Is Not a Social Experiment. As always, link is in the description if you would like to read along. This is not a social experiment. In order for this to work, you will have to pay close attention. Every detail and clue could possibly help us in solving this case. It will provide you with details of the incidents to the best of my knowledge, and if successful, we will be able to resolve this mystery. The following will test your intelligence in a variety of ways. Logic, reasoning, detective expertise, and wit will be required of you. Are you ready? I don't know if I'm ready or not. That's an interesting opening. Not sure how to feel about it just yet. It's clearly trying to think outside of the box as a story, so let's get into it. Names and locations will be changed. I apologize if this impedes your skill, but we have to keep it this way. Background. My agency got word on a number of disappearances occurring in one concentrated area of the nation. Our team was tasked with gathering clues and investigating the crimes in secrecy. While the FBI handles many cases undercover, we are used as backup if the culprit or culprits remain too secretive and dangerous for the public to know about. We are a small team made up of experts in cryptography, computer science, and steganography? Stenography. Basically, if the FBI needs to find someone desperately, it's our job to use every means necessary to find them. We act outside of what is legal. Your phone, webcam, dash cam, traffic cams, data usage, internet history, credit card bills, bank statements, etc. They are all tools for us to spy on the population. Oh, so you're the NSA. We have dealt with killers before. No shit. If you're doing this kind of stuff, of course you would deal with killers. Many of them shoot themselves in the leg by trying to toy with the authorities, putting secret messages leading to their arrest. The bigger the ego the killer has, the more likely it is we will catch them. Still unsure of why this person from this super secret spy organization is talking to us and conveying this message to us, this information, or this proposed test, I suppose. And they clearly don't have a good knowledge of criminality, and that's kind of important to writing this kind of story. It just comes off as shallow and immature. It's like, these killers shoot themselves in the foot by adding hidden messages. I would imagine most criminals don't do that. This recent case has been the strangest, most frustrating we have handled yet. We are desperate. Here is what we know. On the December 24th, 2016, on the December 24th, 2016, why is the there? This extra indefinite article that we don't need. A 25-year-old woman was seen walking into a parking garage, leaving an apartment to get into her car at 9:46 p.m. From what we learned, she seems as though she was in a hurry, and she had nothing but a coat and a briefcase with her. Eyewitnesses said she was leaving a Christmas party after receiving a call and promptly leaving. From the cameras, we were able to see her drop her phone and get in her car. From 34 minutes and 26 seconds, she remained there. She remained there, completely still. A black Subaru uncapitalized, stopped by, and a stocky man with a hood and glasses went into her vehicle. After a minute and 45 seconds, the man got out of the vehicle and went back to his Subaru and drove off, again uncapitalized. She promptly followed. That was the last time she was seen. Her phone was recovered, and the number she called was triangulated back to Germany. Her history in social media showed no signs of distress, and her history had no links to what had happened. Considering the story is coming from the perspective of someone who is working with the FBI, they would need to be a professional, and they would know that you should capitalize Subaru and that these weird grammatical errors, they wouldn't be permissible. This is all not shaping up well. On May 23rd, 2017, a young man by the age of 10, about the age of 10 is what it should be, was taking his bike home from school 20 miles from where his first disappearance took place. The school cameras on the front entrance, we see him take out his phone, answer a call, and rode his bike opposite of where his normal route home was. His mother became worried when her son never came home and tracked his phone, which showed her that he was in Germany. Take in mind, this is 2 hours after his last appearance. There is no conceivable way for him to have gotten to Germany in that amount of time. Remnants of his bike were found 2 months later in a junkyard. No DNA was recovered. Once again, no signs of distress in his social media or internet history. Maybe Hitler is being revived as a cyborg, and all of these people are being recruited to be brought into the cyborg Nazi army for the Fourth Reich. The most recent case, July 28, 2017, and possibly the most incriminating, was one of a college student. He was in his dorm for days, not coming out or going to any of his classes. His roommates had been living at home for that week, so he was alone in his room. People would text him and call him and ask him what was going on. He would just respond by saying he wanted to be alone and that he was tired of going to classes. From the number we got from the last 2 cases, the same one called his phone 4 days prior. 2 men were seen walking on the campus on the 3rd day. They wore hoodies and baseball caps, but from eyewitnesses, they didn't look young enough to be students. They knocked on his door and didn't open it. They slipped envelopes underneath and would promptly leave. While we tracked his phone, we heard one brief conversation between the student and someone on the other line. His contact for the caller was SBTC. So we're not talking about high school or something where people tend to be a specific age. We're talking about college. And I've gone to college with elderly people. And this is having eyewitnesses say that people didn't look young enough to be students. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But we're getting to this part. Here is the transcript. And so there's a transcript. But if this happened, you would have the audio and you would just give us the audio. There is nothing that would reveal who you are through giving us an audio file, an MP3. Student, find a host. Caller. Finding a host. Caller, are you definite? Student, no. Caller, are you creating a new dynamic? Student, what station? Caller, Oxcon. Caller, Oxcon. Student, where should I keep it? Caller, wait for further instructions. Student, understood. After that conversation, they were no longer able to track his phone. He was last seen getting in an Uber and was dropped off near a county reserve center. He walked into the woods and was never seen again. Here are some facts. Before we get into what the facts are that they have listed here, that transcript tells us nothing interesting, nothing of note. It's all a bunch of vagaries, as it should be realistically, but if that's the case, then it's not giving us anything interesting to bite into. But let's read out these facts. None of the victims had shown any signs of distress prior to the phone call. The number, when called, comes up as a dead landline. The call seems to take some sort of control over victims. All the victims are within the ages of 10 to 25, which makes them all relatively young. The caller has a voice modifier making it impossible to identify whether it's a man or a woman. The triangulated position was a dead end as it led to a strip of land with no house or civilization in sight. The man seen getting into the woman's car was later identified, but had already died by suicide. The man had no links to the case other than his interactions with the woman. If your story is going to be a bunch of vagaries, then those vagaries should be leading in a direction of some kind, and they're not really here. And if they did, then that would cause another problem of, then why aren't these, secret extra shadow FBI people able to decipher it themselves? So either way, it's a faulty premise, along with the sloppy execution of not having proper grammar and misspelling things and using the wrong words. It's not believable in the way that they are hoping that it would be, the author. We are at a dead end. The team has suggested this may have links to foreign powers involved in human trafficking and are using new forms of MK Ultra through the phone. MK Ultra, please, come on. If you don't know about MK Ultra, it's a CIA mind control program that kinda worked, kinda didn't. Just give a bunch of black people LSD and hope that you can mind control them. It didn't really work, people. But I like that they're using MK Ultra as kind of a verb. It's like, oh, they're just MK Ultraing them from the phone. It doesn't work that way. Not at all. Also, if there's some element of human trafficking here, then why aren't you presenting the evidence that it has something to do with human trafficking? Like, I have just as much proof of my Fourth Reich Cyber Hitler theory than this idea that it has something to do with human trafficking. Here is where you come in. We need suggestions, expertise, methods of catching the person or factions involved in this. While it is under our jurisdiction to keep this classified, I am out of options. Private messages are encouraged. I will respect those that dedicate, I will respond to those dedicated and resourceful. Thank you. Sincerely, B.T. Achilles. And the story is credited to B.T. Achilles as well. So this ends with a call to action, and I don't have a whole lot to say about the story itself that I haven't already said. But I will say, B.T. Achilles, if you want my advice and my suggestion, it's probably Cyber Hitler. Resurrected Cyber Hitler is behind this, I would imagine. Seems like something he would do. Now, if you enjoyed that, consider helping out the community and supporting my channel. You can support the community by conversing in the comments below, going to toospooky.com, that's TOOspooky.com for more original horror stories, and checking me out on Undercooked Analysis for similar content. You can support me by liking this video, following me on Twitter and Tumblr, links down in the description, as well as my art page, which is also down below. Thank you for your time, and now on to our sponsor at this non-moment in time. Fuckable Guard of War. Fuckable Guard of War. Green. Reliable. Eminently fuckable.